What is up, everyone? It is me, Chris, doing a solo show, also known as Speech Dude, by the way. I'm coming to you live from what can only be described as organized chaos. Ain't that the truth? I've got 5 kids. I have Jessie, my fiance, who's also an SLP, and we're always grinding. And somehow I still think it is a good idea to record a podcast. I don't know what I'm thinking, but here we go. We're going to talk about how AI might be the only thing keeping me from losing my last remaining brain cell. I'm telling you. All right, fun fact, and you don't know this about me, but I've never shared this, and it's not that big of a deal. I graduated high school in 1996, the year that Blink-182 released their album Cheshire Cat. That's not important, but the part of me graduating in 96 is because that was around the year when I started recording music and joining a band. The cool thing is because I was in a band, I needed a place to market and get our band out there so people knew where we were playing shows. This is like at the start of when websites were being designed. So I learned how to code and create websites. And that was my journey for tech. That curiosity for tech, it never went away. Because in the 2000s, once I started becoming an SLP and getting involved in that, I blended that same energy that I had in the band into therapy, which is super cool. I found new ways to make speech sessions more efficient, more creative, and here's the kicker: more human. That's really how I've leveraged technology. And so that's a really important recurring theme that I'm going to talk about in this episode. So fast forward 20 years later, here I am working across schools. I've built tools. I've spoken. Honestly, I've traveled with Jessie to a couple different countries to speak internationally. And we do it for better ways to help neurodivergent students and help them thrive. Here's another thing too. I worked for a national organization called the Bureau of Education and Research, BER. You get those flyers if you work in the schools. I think they also send them to private practices, but you know those flyers that come in and you're like, who's speaking here for BER? Well, I was a presenter, so I've had a lot of experience presenting on specific topics around one idea: using technology to save time, reduce stress, and make therapy awesome, make therapy more human. I've spoken several times at the SLP Summit on this particular topic too. So here's the thing. When we use AI tools the right way, we don't lose human connection. We actually bring it back, and that's super important. But think about all the things that drain our energy as SLPs. It's like endless paperwork, right? Piles stack up with assessments and referrals, writing the same types of emails to families and parents, summarizing sessions, present levels, creating therapy materials from scratch, just the list goes on. So when we can do these things more efficiently and more effectively, automate those types of things, we make room for the stuff that really matters: connecting with our students, laughing with them and having fun and not stressing about activities, following their lead and building trust. That's what it's all about. So this question is asked to me every so often, which is, could it be possible that AI will replace SLPs? No, AI isn't about replacing compassionate SLPs. And therapists like yourself, we're replacing busy paperwork. That's honestly how that works. After years of testing a lot of different products, burning through bad tutorials on YouTube, experimenting honestly with every tool that's available, I have spent hundreds of hours on this stuff and figured out what actually works for school-based SLPs. This is great stuff it doesn't have to be a school-based SLP, but that's basically who I connect with. But private SLP, private practice SLPs, business owners, you name it. And this all comes down to, even if the tools are limited to the free versions or if they have to be district approved, I've looked through all of them. So I created a free webinar that's about all of this stuff. We talk about how to use AI ethically. What are the concerns about the environment? I talk about how to use AI so we can build better prompts. I talk about ways to make it HIPAA and FERPA compliant. Oh, you name it. Okay. So it's not about really theory. I'm actually going to be talking about real practical workflows for you that will work well, where you can just basically copy and paste my stuff right into your day, cut the planning time out, or at least cut the planning time in half. So here's what I mean. I'm going to give you an example. Okay. So here's probably a prompt that is a simple prompt that someone might use in ChatGPT. They might say something like this: create a speech therapy activity for autistic students focused on self-advocacy and emotional regulation. Include discussion questions that can be used with an AAC device. Okay, so that would be your prompt. That would probably be a standard prompt, and the input that you give into it is going to give you kind of a generic output, right? It's a solid start, but we need to fine tune this, and that's what SpeechDude does. So I'm going to make it more specific for you. Listen to this. This is where the magic happens. Create a 10-minute interactive AAC activity based on the VeggieTales Hairbrush song. Include opportunities to model core vocabulary such as want, go, stop, please, play, more, and 3 fringe words related to the song: brush, mirror, bathroom. Provide ideas for how to model feelings and energy levels throughout the activity, and use some WH question to describe how the character feels when Larry can't find his hairbrush. Boom! That prompt right there creates an activity in seconds that's personalized. So we're building it on a special interest. It's engaging and it's neurodiversity affirming. We didn't have to spend hours on end in Canva trying to come up with our own things. We didn't have to sit on Sunday night at 10 p.m. on Teachers Pay Teachers, spending our money on our credit card. You know what I mean? So that's the power of AI. It's wonderful. And there's a lot of efforts out there to restore water within the next couple of years. There's huge projects that I'm going to talk about in the webinar. This is how we help us be more human in our sessions, because we can show up relaxed, we can show up regulated, and we can show up ready to connect. So if you're ready to see how this actually works, join me in the free webinar. It's called Create Epic Neurodiversity Affirming Activities in Minutes with AI. Okay, so ChatGPT for SLPs, bada bing, bada boom. Here's how you're going to register. Head to speechdude.com/AI webinar and grab your spot, register. I promise it's going to be high energy. It's going to be very visual. I'm not going to bombard you with a whole bunch of info. You're just going to love it. Okay, again, speechdude.com/AI webinar. And that's how you'll access the registration page. I hope that you found this episode valuable, entertaining, enjoyable. That's all I got. I hope to see you in the webinar. Until next time, everyone.